Hello, hello, mis cielitos, and welcome back. Coco is here, and I will be continuing Raging Loop. Hi, Zeddy. Hi, dear. Thank you both for coming. I was fortunately able to get a new monitor, so I got my avatar back in place. The only thing I need to do a little adjustment on is that the new one has a longer wire and it's registering as the primary one, and I do want to try and keep it as the primary one since it's a much better one. But for the moment, I can't have it where I usually stare since the other monitor doesn't have a long enough wire. But I'll get used to that in time. Eventually, I'll get a longer wire. I'm doing well, thank you very much. An hour after lunch, Hanzo-san said it was time, and we began the feast. I could also adjust my microphone a bit now that I think about it. There we go. Drink more. It'll hurt less. Oh gosh, this monitor is so much better. It's so weird seeing things in a much better resolution. I'm so unaccustomed to it. Half grinning in response, I drank more of the divine sake than usual. As far as I knew, though, alcohol wasn't good for you when you were injured. Thus, the feast started. First of all, let's talk about Chiemi. What happened to her? Got anything, Yasunaga? Takumi-san started out by giving the lead to Yasunaga-kun, who readily accepted it. They'd probably decided on this during their secret talk. He gave several ideas. Chiemi could have accidentally wandered outside on some errand. She also could have not returned home for some reason. And lastly, Chiemi could have been killed by the wolves who wanted to make it look like the corruption did it. That was when Takumi-san mentioned that you couldn't stay awake, even if you wanted to, and Yoshitsugu-kun vouched for that. Let me see if I can move this over here. Yes, I can. With that, everyone agreed that it was unlikely that she'd accidentally gone outside. Their talk was similar to the one we'd had when talking about Mamiya-san's death last time. However, unlike this time, it had been a given that Mamiya-san had returned to her room once, so we reached the conclusion that she, a person who didn't end up sleeping, was a wolf. The idea that Chiemi didn't return back home to begin with had me forming a certain theory. According to Chiemi, from the first loop, you could be outside until 8 in the evening. Yesterday, I'd woken up about 10, meaning that anyone in their rooms between 8 to 10 p.m. would go to sleep. Or rather, be forced to sleep. That was when the wolves would be woken up, get in the wolf outfit they were given during the night, and do their deeds. From what I could tell, the humans would stay asleep. That was why they were always killed without putting up a fight. After that, the wolves would return to their homes and be forced to sleep again. Then, the wolf outfit would be picked up, and they would wake up the following morning. The Feast of the Yomi Purge wouldn't work without the sleep function. However, I knew for a fact that people could die by just being outside their rooms. The first time it happened to Mamiya-san and Hashimoto-san, who wanted to spend the night in their van, while Yoshitsugu-kun was torn apart because of his own recklessness. Last time, if you excluded Mamiya-san, the wolf, Yoshitsugu-kun suggested going outside right after everyone went to bed. The first time, he'd probably gone outside long before everyone was forced to sleep. Basically, if you were in a room at a certain time, you would be forced to go to sleep. That was probably the true meaning behind the shelter taboo. It was just a prerequisite for the main factor in controlling the feast: dreaming, or in other words, sleeping. That was why those who didn't shelter would be eliminated by the bringers of corruption. Looking at it that way, I felt I could see the cunning, logical truth behind Great Lord Shinai. Anyway, the main matter right now was Chiemi. I had no idea how she could survive outside until she committed suicide, but I would just assume she did. I also didn't know if she was waiting for the wolves, or just happened to encounter us when we went to the dorm. However, it was clear that she'd been outside the whole time. Yasunaga-kun also believed that, and said so to everyone. His own idea that it was actually a murder made to look like a rule violation was dismissed because Chiemi's futon wasn't even spread out in her room. That meant she hadn't even intended to dream last night.
So you're saying that, you don't know why, but Janie's death was like an accident. And that the wolves still haven't killed anyone, right?
Yes. After Yasunaga-kun explained his position, Mochi interjected. He was a passive participant, but really good at it. Most of his few words were on the mark. He was also the monkey, so no one had to worry about him trying to mislead people. So you're saying that the wolves themselves hesitated to kill? That's what I think. That misinterpretation was actually good for us. Though we didn't plan for it, we got rid of a human, and there wouldn't be a hanging today as retaliation. At least, a part of me hoped so. I don't think so. Kanzo-san argued against it. Of course. Why? It's too good for the wolves. Sharp. I see where you're coming from, but we must know what really happened to Chiemi before we can say that. It's the other way around. Say it, Yasu. Huh? Someone died at night. Normally it's the wolves doing. Just say it. But Taiba and the old wolfman said it was corruption.
That's what I thought, but it's difficult. The wolf is coming!
Ain't good enough for me. Then how do you explain why Cheney's futon wasn't spread out? It don't matter much. Yes, it does. Yasu, shut up! Hanzo-san's words were full of irritation, if not anger. It brought a change to everyone's expressions. I was the only one who could see this rationally. After all, I was the one who caused this. I presented him with an unproven personal matter between me and a deceased girl, maliciously giving him several ways to view it. One of them led to the conclusion that Yasunaga-kun was a dirty cheater who played both Chiemi and Haru-chan. I'd led Kanzo-san to that convenient idea without putting myself at any risk. I wasn't expecting us to avoid today's lynching to begin with. Thus, I would instead gain their trust by just leading them to the truth. There's another possibility. Chiemi-chan could have committed suicide. The idea shocked everyone, but it was actually easy to explain. It was true, after all. Someone who'd commit suicide wouldn't prepare their futon. Since the suicide was enough bloodshed for the night, the wolves didn't kill anyone else. It was an answer that let people combine the idea the wolves didn't kill, but planned to. Then why was her body in that state? What kind of suicide leads to that? The wolves saw her body after she committed suicide and just left it there, letting the local beasts have it. Does that make sense? We got beasts that could do that. In this area? Old man. He wanted to prove that the wolves were out for blood, but his knowledge as a hunter denied the possibility of there being such beasts here. So I helped him out. This isn't something I wanted to consider, but it might have been a monster. Or maybe a god. Think about it. There's definitely something that brings the corruption. There were lots of dead dogs on the first day, right? If there was a being that could do that around the area, it could easily find Chiemi's body and do the same. It could be Yomibito, Badger, or a real wolf. Well, it is true that there might be something spreading the corruption.
Oh, how terrifying!
Usaichi-san, please don't needlessly frighten people. That's not my intention. I actually do think there's an unidentified menace around these parts, and we should be wary of it. It could be the reason why the corpse was destroyed. Shouldn't we keep that in mind? Well, you're not wrong. Wait, even if that was a suicide, there's no proof that the wolves wanted to kill, right? Also, I don't think that Chiemi's the type to commit suicide. Yeah, there's no way she would kill herself. Please, calm down, everyone. So he joined in. How would he handle this? Can I give my opinion? Go ahead. Of course. I might not look like it, but I used to be a cameraman in a war zone, so I've seen many gruesome things. Seriously? Yes, and I'm not an expert, so I can't be sure. But it looked to me like her head was scattered in a strange way. Some pieces even reached up to the wall. I even took a photo. It looks like a gun wound to me. A large gun at that, and from point-blank range even. Sharp. A few people looked at Kanzo-san. It was a fitting reaction considering he had a gun, and he grunted in response. Oh, I don't believe it has anything to do with Makishima-san. What are you getting at? The only real situation when blood and other things can fly high up is when someone puts the gun in their mouth and shoots it. It'd be pretty hard to do that with a large gun. A murder would more likely be at an even or downward angle. That makes me think that Fusaishi-kun is right and it was a suicide. Did she have a gun? No. Not that I know of.
Never heard if she did, but she said she's got a hunting license.
Huh? Seriously? Then she could have had a shotgun.
She had guts. If I was gonna have someone go hunting, it'd have been her.
Hanzo-san's tone grew lower as he displayed an unexpectedly high opinion of her. The story that she was being cheated on must have hit even harder than I thought. Amy really did have a place here. She must have gotten a license because she thought so herself. That could only mean that the gloomy talk from last time. But there's no place for me here! Was just nonsense from a wolf. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Why didn't she have a gun then? We didn't find anything in her room either, not even bullets. I was curious about why there was no gun, too. But there are no bullets either? Or shells? They were with the rest of her stuff last time. Did they mess up while searching or something? The room was unlocked, so anyone could go in, right? Right. I believe we should fear the worst. That the wolves took both the gun and the bullets. That was when Mamiya-san took over. I do understand that it doesn't make complete sense to fear a gun that, for all we know, might not exist. But I believe we should check everyone's rooms. I'm not sure if they would hide it somewhere so obvious. What do you think? I think it's important to show that we're willing to search. Let's do it. Fine by me. Wait, I don't think you should look around my house for such a reason. There might be old hunting rifles that had nothing to do with this. Do you have something to hide? Honestly, I don't think he'd take a gun with him. He probably already has one or two, and he's got no spine. Chikamooch, you... He's not wrong. In fact, the very idea of taking something like that from a corpse is making me nauseous. Chicken. Afraid of corpses, huh? I heard that's why you can't make it as a doctor. No, Stop it, Yoshitsugu. Osato-san, please forgive him. So he really was afraid of corpses. Man, guy sure was hard to make use of. I mean, he's helped several times, particularly when there was poisoning happening. Still, there was no reason for us to be afraid here. After all, we weren't the ones who took the gun. I could only assume it was Great Lord Shinai again. Thanks to Hashimoto-san, just about everyone now agreed that Chami had killed herself with a gun. Proof was a very important thing. The people of Yasumiso really had to realize that, by cleaning up the corpse right away, they made it harder to find out the truth. Even Yasunaga-kun accepted that Chami had committed suicide. He was now muttering something like, "Chani, why?" Kanzo-san looked at him with extremely intense eyes. If you connected the story from before with the suicide, you could assume that it was the result of the love triangle drama. After all, she committed suicide in front of Yasunaga-kun's room. With that settled, Akumi-san spoke up again. Man, that story made up. Starting to help in ways you did not even intend. So, what do we do today? We hanging or not? After a moment of silence, he wasn't killed by the wolves. That's why we shouldn't lynch anyone. We said we hanged if someone died. It wasn't the wolves. May I say something? What is it? I believe that Serizawa-sama was acting on the spider's mentality. Huh? What do you mean? She took the corruption in herself. He protected us by acting like the spider. Wise and brave as she is, Serizawa-sama could easily do something like that. Tell us more! Last night, she might have drawn her own blood to protect those with guardians among us. She might have committed suicide after witnessing the arrival of the wolves.
Chie-chan. She might have been violent, but she was honest and gentle too.
It ain't that. Cheney just had guts.
Then, were the wolves really planning to kill her? Sure you're not overthinking it.
But honestly, I can't think of any other case in which Cheney would commit suicide.
Haruni, if Cheney didn't know what to do, she'd shoot someone else before herself. She knew exactly what she was doing here. And she always stood up to protect us in school, didn't she?
Haney.
What do we do? Looks like they will want to hang someone today. I would want to vote on it, at least. Hashimoto-san. We must survive. This might be necessary to accomplish that. But if that was really her reason, and Serizawa's son didn't have a guardian, the snake must still be alive, and he or she has information for us. And if everyone here can band together against the wolves, then the situation is very different from how it was yesterday. I'll still listen to my conscience and vote against killing, but I'll accept the results. Alright, we'll raise hands for it. Anyone who's voting for on who to hang, raise your hands. The old wolf guy, Yamawaki-san, Hanzo-san, Kinosuke-shi, Takumi-san, Rikako-san, Mochi, Yoshitsugu, and I raised our hand. The only ones who didn't were Kaori-san, Yasunaga-kun, Haru-chan, Meiko, and the journals. Mochi!
Sorry, Yasun, but I feel like I gotta avenge Cheney.
Oh, really? He really wants that. Could have shown up in our dreams or something.
Yeah.
9 against 6. Choose who to hang. Guess we have no choice. Oh, if we pick and lynch someone, do we just go on our own ways then? How is it, old man? The feast ends when someone's hanged. Then before that, I would like to say something about the snake. If they found a wolf today, they should come out and come out with it. That's a good idea. It would make it easier to choose who to hang, and the spider could protect them. I hope we don't get multiple. Just like Yasunaga-kun pointed out yesterday, we're bound to have more than one, right after the first comes. Yeah, if the real one came out now, I would have to play the fake. But the real one wouldn't come out just yet. Hey, Snake, you found the wolf! Doesn't look like it. That means that the person they found yesterday was a human. I see, I see. Now, does anyone here want to be investigated before anyone else? For a moment, I almost ignored that nonchalant question. But a second later, I almost stopped breathing. That is very clever. This was an attack. I had no idea why I thought that. But this was a deadly attack. What was I supposed to do about it? What was the right choice? Let's raise our hand! Yippee! I couldn't let myself be investigated before anyone else. Not when I was a wolf. It'd be bad if the snake discovered my identity, and having me become a topic of debate would be even worse. It was possible they wouldn't speak up about finding a wolf, but it didn't seem like silence was an option, given the situation. Not to sound cocky or anything, but if I were taken down, the rest of the wolves would instantly fall apart. I wasn't supposed to raise my hand, right? And after much hesitation, I didn't. On the other hand, 5 others raised their hands. Hanzo-san, Kinosuke-shi, Yasunaga-kun, Mamiya-san, Yoshitsugu-kun. Yet, when I saw who'd stepped forward, I understood the nature of the trap. I unconsciously glanced at the one who'd set this up, and found him looking right at me with a smile. Yet another damn blunder on my part. It might be late, but maybe if I raised my hand now, that's enough. Hashimoto-san had me totally beat. That said, I wasn't sure if everyone would understand the point he was trying to make. I mean, come on, guys. But when I considered my current position... So that's how it is it? How troubling. Despite his words, Hashimoto-san didn't sound the least bit troubled. Wait, what's troubling? First things first, all of you should want to be investigated. After all, if we're all investigated, you can gain proof you're not a wolf. Anything you say here can be interpreted as a slip of the tongue and lead to doubt. So all of you should want to prove your innocence.
Then investigate me too.
I want to be investigated too.
Please investigate me.
Me too, then.
Me too.
Me too.
I don't get what's going on, but whatever, I'm in.
Yes, this is the way it should be. Everyone who understood that explanation should have their hands raised now.
Only the ones who didn't understand kept their hands down.
You can put your hands down again.
Everyone did as he said. It was unsettling. Like Hashimoto-san possessed some technique that controlled everyone.
However, there was one thing that didn't go as expected. Those participants who planned to be passive aside, those of you who want a voice in the feast should want to have their innocence proven more than anyone else. Indeed, Rosato-san and Oribe's sons were quick to respond.
Well, I can hardly do anything if I'm doubted whenever I speak. These guys like me look fishy simply for doubting the old hag.
Yes, that's correct.
Incidentally, those two were designated because they were the secondary wave of those who wanted a voice in the feast. But had they realized that? Naturally, Yasunaga-kun and Kanzo-san were the primary wave, and Mamiya-san could be right up there with them this time. However,
it is quite curious how those who should have a lot to say didn't raise their hands after.
Ooh, I'm the snake! Shit, what horrible timing! I'd been forced to out myself as a snake, and with Takumi-san at that. I just barely managed to avoid falling behind his declaration, but that could hardly be called a silver lining right now.
Fusaichi, you bastard!
So you're a wolf, huh?
Now, calm down. Oh boy, the snake's already come out.
Please wait, what's going on right now?
I didn't raise my hand because I never considered investigating myself.
I'm the snake, so I was worried that announcing I wanted to be investigated by the snake would seem like a lie. I was simply worried how to act in a place where even the smallest lie is forbidden.
You son of a bitch! You want me to slug you right here now? Calm down.
Hashimoto-san rose partially to his feet, exuding a pressure that intimidated even a man as sturdily built as Takumi.
Bing says this route is part cringe and full on tension. I see. So you didn't raise your hands for those reasons. Not because you're wolves and didn't want to be investigated.
Of course.
Damn right.
Who did the two of you investigate?
You, Yasu.
Huh? I'm grateful for that, but I'm a human, right?
Yeah.
I see. So that was why he acted that way this morning, and why he didn't out himself as a snake yesterday.
What about you, Fusaishi-san?
I investigated Kanzo-san. He's human. It may have sounded a bit too good to be true, but he was the only one I could see possibly backing me up. There was also the seeds of malice I'd planted in him earlier.
Now then, what are we to do?
I was the one who wanted to complain. The snake had revealed themselves early, but this was a totally different situation from that previous loop where Takumi-san had done so on the first day. It was the second day, so not only had the power been successfully used once, but now a liar had been successfully lured out. The longer the snake survived, the better. As a participant, they'd already drawn out more than enough information. So as long as he was acknowledged as the real deal, that was...
I'm the real snake.
I'm the real snake. You both are under the same conditions.
Like hell, the damn bastard's lying.
You're the liar here. Indeed, without any contradictions between us, neither of us could be selected. Why don't we let them be and observe how they act? Yasunaga-san reached his conclusion, but...
No, let's hang them both.
Yeah, of course this guy would say that. Guess trying to get him on my side was a bust.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Wait, what?
I know that Yasu's a human, and I'm sure the old man's a human too.
I don't think this lying bastard would be brazen enough to claim one of his fellow wolves was a human at this point. And the old man Kanzo I know would have killed himself the moment he learned he was a wolf.
I kept wanting to say that wasn't true, but unfortunately I knew nothing I said could convince them.
You and Yasu are safe, and besides, Jamie's already gone. If me and this sly bastard are gone, then I don't think there'd be anyone dangerous left to take charge of the wolves.
The madness of the people of Yasumisu.
No one else is crafty enough to be suited as the leader of the wolves. I know that better than anyone. I don't know about Mamiya-san, but I don't think she has what it takes to direct the rest of us well.
Are you saying I'm not clever enough? Maybe being seen that way is a good thing in this situation, but it ticks me off.
No, I meant that you're just acting as an outsider. As long as that's true, you couldn't lead the rest of Yasumisu.
I see. Then I agree.
And there you have it. Go ahead and hang me if you want, but get rid of Fusaishi first.
Like hell they'd fall for that bull. The real snake should survive while the fake one dies.
Anyone who don't have the guts to die for the humans is a wolf.
That makes no sense. Any further bickering is pointless. Can we start the vote now?
Go ahead.
Damn it! It wasn't even a contest. The vote was 13-2 in favor of lynching me. A crushing defeat. I'm sorry, Haruaki-sama. Mikako-san, the only one who'd voted in my favor on the grounds that those who claim to have guardians shouldn't be taken lightly, was the one pushing me. Please don't worry about it. In fact, you shouldn't be nice to me at all. People might think you're my ally, too. And what do you mean by two, Fusaishi-kun? Remember this, Hashimoto-san. Your stupid trap that relied on pouncing what people said will have cost the humans the real snake. Yes, that may indeed be possible. This man was insane, too. His words lacked substance. Perhaps he'd gotten too used to insane situations and taken up a relaxed attitude to handle any gruesome circumstances. It made sense. I'd been a sore loser and slipped up this time. He'd won. Rise not. The rise not, is it? I would return. Oh? I was hanged. And died. I swore I'd return. And when I did, I wouldn't let these people kill me. That thought repeated in my mind until my consciousness swiftly faded into the mist. As a wolf, I didn't want to be investigated before anyone else. Even so, I raised my hand. Not raising it might be seen as asking that I not be investigated. A total of 6 people raised their hands. Hanzo-san, Yonosuke-shi, Yasunaga-kun, Mamiya-san, Yoshitsugu-kun, and me. Upon seeing who raised their hands,
I instantly understood the nature of the trap. Those who wanted to have a voice in the feast simply had to raise their hands here. Being a proven human was necessary if you wanted to have influence and a voice here. The feast was a game of politics disguised as a game of logic. Since the murders couldn't be scientifically investigated, you had to present possible suspects purely on circumstantial evidence. However, whether the others believed that or not was up to them to decide. And since circumstantial evidence, no matter how much of it remains circumstantial, it was entirely possible to make a fool of yourself by treating it like direct proof. There was also a fear of death, as well as religious faith. Not many people were capable of deciding everything for themselves in this situation. Those who didn't have confidence in their own decisions left the choice to others, specifically the popular, capable leaders. They were the ones who didn't raise their hands. They were too slow to realize how to react to this because they needed explanations and guidance from their leaders. Those who wanted to be leaders, on the other hand, were constantly waiting for opportunities to consolidate power by proving themselves right.
Wait, what are you getting at?
Imagine that we all agree that the snake would investigate you today, and tomorrow we would ask them to reveal themselves if they found a wolf. If they don't reveal themselves, it would mean you are safe. You wouldn't be needlessly suspected.
Oh, I get it.
The snake found a human today too, but until they reveal themselves, that won't be of any use to us.
I approve of this too.
Then, please investigate me as well.
Can you investigate me too?
I would like that too.
Me too.
Everyone else now raised their hands like the followers they were. Besides the monkeys, the ones who weren't raising their hands either didn't understand the situation at all, or missed the right time to hide their hope that they wouldn't be investigated. But we didn't have any of those. Both Haru-chan and Kaori-san knew what they had to do. However, my only option in the situation was to raise my hand at the first opportunity. I'd already done something to assert my wish to take a political lead. Besides that, I was a newbie who no one trusted, so I was a likely lynch target. Everyone probably assumed that I knew my situation. That was why I put myself ahead before anyone else. Otherwise, it would have seemed extremely likely that I was a wolf.
I love this image, oh my god.
Hashimoto-san slowly looked at everyone. He stopped the moment his gaze was directed at me. He wasn't stern or cold. He was as calm and gentle as always. But I couldn't help sensing a powerful will behind it. The will of a cameraman, an observer who wanted to know the true nature of his subject. This wasn't a battlefield, the wilderness, or some restaurant selling unusual cuisine. But he was, as always, remaining an observer. He stayed at an appropriate distance, blended in with the environment, and focused solely on observation. If he noticed something crucial, he would simply call it out. It wouldn't be that his words would prompt some other event. His attack would be over the moment he spoke. That was just how precise his observations were. Was I being paranoid? No. He was the real deal. A true threat to me. He tested me just now. Suspected me. In that case, what came next would be... Oh, sorry about that. Please put your hands down. Of course, you would raise your hands. If you have nothing to hide, you would obviously want to be investigated and prove your innocence. So, who do we investigate? Personally, I would be more at ease if you were first. We outsiders are easy to suspect after all. But that's just what I want. Otherwise... What about Fusaishi-kun? He seems pretty smart. It would be good to know if he's human, right? I actually had to avoid being investigated by the snake. I see. Would that mean that he wouldn't be an option in today's lynching? Yes. If I wasn't a wolf, this would be nothing but a kindness from a fellow outsider. I wasn't certain if he was doing this on purpose. However, I was certain of one thing. Yudai Hashimoto was my enemy. The most formidable among everyone here, in fact. All that hard work to save him, and now I had to kill him. But I had to do it to survive. I wish I could say that's a good idea. But there's someone who should be investigated before me. Oh? And who would that be? Akumi-san. This was how I'd handle it. It was a setup for a future attack. Akumi-san will continue to be an important figure for the entire feast. It will be harder for everyone to decide on what to do if we don't know whether he's a human or a wolf.
That...
Well, he's not wrong. The outspoken ones often stand out, which draws suspicion. In terms of importance, Takumi-san is roughly on the same level as Kanzo Makishima-san. I do want to feel secure, but I don't want to be criticized for prioritizing myself over the group as a whole. I don't mind if you're going to investigate me regardless. Do it, I say. Or if I seem suspicious to you right now, you can even vote for me. I don't mind getting hanged for the sake of your victory. I prepared for that possibility last night. Kimi-chan displayed impressive courage in what she did, and I would like to follow her example, even if I wouldn't be nearly as cool. Haruaki-sama. What do you think, Mochi?
Akumi, huh? Well, he's not wrong. Hey, can we just not hang him? I also don't think he's a wolf.
That went... well? Haru-chan was kind of overdoing it, but as long as she didn't take it any further, it'd be consistent with her act so far. I see. Then let's have the snake investigate Takumi Muro-san. Any objections? Silence. Are you okay with it yourself? Yeah, I don't mind. Then it's decided. You couldn't push any further. Now it was my time to vote. What a waste of time. Uematsu, we're voting. Yes, I shall write them down. We continued talking for a short while after that, but it was mostly pointless chatter about what we should do, and if anyone had any ideas.
Hey, can't we find out who the wolves are by setting up some cameras?
If you say that here, the wolves will hear it too. It'd be pointless.
Oh, right.
Haru-chan did as I told her, displaying dedication towards contributing to the feast. A decent amount of time had passed since we started the feast, and it'd probably end right before the evening. Takumi-san was silent. He'd seemed against hanging people on a whim at first, but something had changed his mind somehow. Jamie was a good fellow pillar of the community, but it must have hit him pretty hard. At this point, the only one clearly opposed to the vote was Mamiya-san, but even then, she only had a hand on her forehead. And so the vote began.
You first, old guy. You listening?
You!
Huh? Me?
Like a demon! Scary! Scary!
Whatever. Old man Kanzo, your turn. One for Yasu.
Did I push things too far? Is it that weird to be opposed to the lynching?
You got a good head. It'd be just an act. Yasu ain't your enemy, old man. Can't trust that without reason.
Akumini, it's fine. Move on.
Then, Ba-chan, your turn.
What a burden. One for the journalist.
Wait, have I done anything suspicious?
Hashimoto-san is a monkey, but I don't know about you.
Calm down, Q-chan. I'm fine. I should have seen this coming. I was just surprised.
My turn. One for the old wolf guy. I don't want to say this, but if you're just gonna say random stuff even in this situation, you're a nuisance to all of us.
You suspecting someone else, right? You sure?
I don't know what you're talking about. Howdy-san, you're next.
Yasunaga, what do you think? Can I say who I'll vote for before it's my turn?
It ain't a problem.
I can't vote with certainty at this point. With that in mind, I can only pick someone who doesn't contribute to the feast. Don't just follow me without thinking.
Just say it.
I'm voting for the old wolfman. But Mom, I want you to decide for yourself how to vote. Okay, so I will. One for Rikako Uematsu. I do not mind, but may I have a reason? I have a problem with how you presented Jamie-chan's death. After all, it's possible that she was a wolf, right?
Of all people, she was the one to say that?
Then again, I was actually planning to mention it too. That was a smart move.
What do you mean?
I'm saying that it could have been a fight between wolves. Maybe they argued about whether they'd actually kill or not. Wow, it was almost as if she was there herself. Huh. Hanzo-shi was nodding. After all, in the feast, it was common sense that humans weren't the only ones who could die at night. By creating the possibility that Jamie was a wolf, we would mess up their assumptions about how many wolves there were left. Maybe Jamie killed herself because she didn't want to kill. Wait, would that really count as a murder for the night? We actually can't be sure, but it's entirely possible that death due to discord between wolves counts. They then left the corpse there, and then the beast or something else came and made a mess of it, just like Fusaishi-san suggested. In that situation, any capable wolf would want to insist that Jamie-chan was human, right? She said that while looking at Rikako-san, who praised Jamie's actions on the basis that she was a human. But... No, I simply wanted to... beautify Chiemi-chan's actions. Fully aware that my comment was unnecessary, I took the stage. Suicide is sad, no matter what. It's hard for everyone left behind. But if you look at it in a positive way, we can stay positive too. I imagine that Rikako-san was just showing consideration for us all. I took her side this time. She was an important person with special powers. It was better for her to die later. I couldn't deny that a part of me didn't want to kill her, but I ignored it. After all, following the betrayal, the only one suffering would be me. Right now, the important thing was to pretend to be a human fighting the good fight against the wolves. Kaori-san was a wolf and would probably be outed eventually. I had to make sure I wouldn't be suspected based on acting in support of her beforehand. I did think that, but most of all, I simply thought that Serizawa-sama displayed amazing bravery by trying to protect us. I didn't doubt that. Rikako-san might have been more traditional than anyone else in Fujiyoshi, but her heart remained good-natured.
Alright, I'll let the rest decide for themselves. You're next, Kiyo.
One for Haruaki Fusaishi-kun. Just like last time, he voted for me on the first day.
And I have a reason.
Didn't you say it yourself? I knew I'd vote for you the moment you took the initiative, but refused to be investigated by the snake.
I understand. Though, I don't think I should have been more selfish there. Next. Like I said, I'm voting for the old wolf guy.
He was the first one to get 2 votes.
Chikamochi, you're next.
Hassan, I guess?
Why?
He's acting too serious.
What do you mean?
Nothing really. Hassan's usually more relaxed, that's it. The scary thing was that such random thoughts of his often hit the mark.
Yoshi, who are you voting for?
Uematsu, my reasons, I think the hag's got a point. You should think for yourself too.
I did, and I'm sticking to what I said. Also, I don't like it how village head's using one of our deaths to our advantage.
Haru, you're next.
I'll vote for Uematsu-san too. Why must a woman who grieved for your loss be suspected so much? Is this how you repay her?
Shut it. Let's just get this over with, Takumi-D.
You're next, Rikaku Uematsu.
One for Kaori Oribe-sama. Retaliation, I suppose. Yes, I know I'm human, and I find your reasoning unjust.
You done? You're next, Mako.
Usayuki-san!
What?
You mean Fusaishi? Why him?
Everyone's bad, but there's an order!
Huh? What's she saying?
I do not know either. Wait. Could it be that she was...
Everyone needs to, something. It's, hang!
Mako was the badger! Crap. I couldn't use her no matter how hard I thought about it. How? She could totally give it away and ruin us.
Oh, well... Next?
Z, oh my god, Mako is on the warpath this time. Honey, you're doing great. I love you. Continue the work. Fusaishi. Alright. Right now, I had 3 votes, as did Rikako-san. The old wolf guy had 2, while Takumi-san, Kaori-san, Yasunaga-kun, and Mamiya-san had 1 each. To survive, I had to vote for Rikako-san, or the old wolf guy, and my vote would affect those of the remaining 2, the journals. Hello, Xerox. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for coming. If they both voted for me, it'd be game over. But if I was right about the nature of Hashimoto-san's actions, he was trying to decide whether I was clean or not. And if he decided that I wasn't, he would have surely mentioned it before the vote began. It was possible that he would vote for someone else. I had no idea if Mamiya-san would follow his vote, but even if she didn't, it wasn't likely that she would vote for me. Basically, if I voted for Rikako-san, she would get 4 votes and most likely be lynched. And if I voted for the old wolf guy, he would have 3 votes, and depending on who the journalist voted for, I would end up with the final vote. None of those with just 1 vote were particularly suspicious, so it was best to just disregard them altogether. I had to vote between Rikako-san and the old wolf guy. But honestly, it wasn't much of a choice. Kaori-san about Rikako-san relied a decent amount on the assumption that the village heads were anti-Yasumisu, but that wasn't very credible. It wouldn't be strange for me to base my decision on that. We already had Haru-chan agree with Kaori-san's words. She didn't even give her own reason. I didn't want to be considered an ally of those who'd given up on thinking for themselves. Now, all that mattered was who the remaining 2 would vote for. This could lead to another final vote, but I'd think about that then. I'm voting for the old wolf guy. Why? I had to say something justified and useful to the humans. You're all well aware of how he behaves, but I think it's on act. My words surprised everyone. Why would you believe that? Actually, I couldn't say that I'd seen him make a decent play when he was a badger. I don't believe that a senile man could survive multiple feasts like this one. He's sometimes unresponsive and doesn't say a word to the very end, but when asked directly, he tends to answer immediately. When you look at it like that, he might just be ignoring or dancing around questions that are bad for him. It's a clever strategy. Oh, wait a second. I voted for him myself, but don't you think you're overthinking it? Also, if that were true, don't you think he'd have avoided being in this dangerous situation? I think he might know a loophole. A loophole that doesn't kill you? I wouldn't say for certain, but from what little I've seen, the place he sleeps at is basically a dilapidated wreck. I hadn't seen it this time around, actually, but no one would find my claim fishy. It didn't even look like it qualified as a shelter, and yet he's alive. Now that you mention it... Hanzo Makishima-san, has he ever survived things that he didn't seem capable of surviving? Can't say if he did or didn't. But I don't trust him. Guy's been a freak for as long as I've known him. He decided to ignore it all, apparently. If you know how to avoid the feast, please do tell us. If you do, I'll retract my vote.
No one escapes the mountain.
He's basically saying he won't cooperate with us no matter what. That's the basis for my vote. Alright. You're next, Mamiya-san. Can I just not vote? I don't want to be complicit in murder. We can't have that. We need to know who you doubt and who you support. Alright then. You, Haru Makishima-san. Huh? Haru? Your reason? It's nothing major. I just picked the most suspicious one out of the ones who would definitely not be lynched today. I considered voting for Yamawaki-san at first, but there's no point in such petty revenge.
You're saying that Haru-chan's more suspicious than me?
If I have to choose between you, yes. She didn't say why she suspected Uematsu-san, but her general attitude is strange. There's nothing certain there. Saw through Haru-chan's act, huh? I don't have any preferences here, but I don't believe that all the wolves are so cunning, cruel, and gutsy. There could be one who's just cowering in fear of any votes that could come their way. It's a genuine issue to consider. That's why I'm voting for her.
Seriously? That's it? That's so cruel.
And so is this whole thing you're all doing. Please don't make a big deal of this. Alright. You're last, Hashimoto-san. This is difficult, but even so, I will vote for the old wolf fellow. It was settled then. Can you give us a reason? I believe I understand what kind of people you are now, and I believe nominating you at this point in time would be strange. That's it, really. A simple reason. I see. Alright then. That gives him 4 votes. It's decided. Bring the rope.
I need time.
Shut it! I'd seen this before. Hanzo-san punched the old wolf guy, shocking some people. In the end, upon getting the rope, Hanzo-san tied him up and went to hang him on the pine all by himself. I'll hang him myself. You go back. Old man, what's gotten into you? The conditions for it were different. This event unfolded the exact same way as last time. This was just my assumption. But I believe that Kanzo-san had some sort of unfinished business with the old wolf guy. Perhaps he too suspected the old man would try something strange here. The first time he said he needed time, everyone accepted it, and soon he and Mochi, who had accompanied him, were found dead outside. Was he planning to do something before his execution? That something led to murders and made Kanzo-san forcefully drag him to the tree. It seemed significant to me. Dragging my feet in the line, headed back to the dining hall, I thought about the old wolf guy. Was there some sort of way to make him talk? Maybe I could loop back and... No, he probably wouldn't react to anything I said. For now, I just had to be glad that I survived today's feast. I couldn't show it, of course. If there were any holes in anything I'd said today, it could prove trouble further down the line. Even so, I'd cast aside my doubts and taking a step forward. I could win this. I could win this as a wolf. Like last time, we ended up spending an awkward evening in the dining hall. Hassan insisted that something bad could happen in the mist again, so she told us to stay inside. After that, Hanzo-san and Takumi-san came back. The former ignored all warnings and left again, but everyone else stayed inside. Takumi-san said he didn't see Kanzo-san kill the old wolf guy. Just what was happening between them? What if he didn't actually kill him? Was there some secret agreement between the locals where they agreed that the old wolf guy had to live? Was someone hiding him somewhere? No, that couldn't be it. He definitely died the first time. I just didn't get it. Soon enough, we started making dinner. I had to check for poison again, clean up, and then we all went back to our rooms.
Another one of us might be gone tomorrow. Be prepared for that at least.
After a short silence, everyone gave each other some brief goodbyes and began going their own way.
Oh, one last thing.
Hashimoto-san stopped them.
I advise against trying to stay outside and have secret meetings. Unlike during the day, we're all spread out. It's hard to tell if someone's nearby. That how it is?
The guy's right. Just head back.
Crap. I'd hope I'd get a chance to eavesdrop. That meant that the secret chat he had at noon only happened because he figured the wolves couldn't do much during the day. However, it didn't mean that Hashimoto-san had anything concrete. In fact, he would probably deal with potential eavesdropper by not saying anything important if he met someone privately. I was more curious about Takumi-san. The exchange between him and Yasunaga-kun might have been extremely important. What? Late at night. We passed out and put on the wolf outfits, passed through the beast-filled mist, and arrived at the dining hall again. My injury had healed shockingly well. Healing herb power sure was something. I had to remove the taping to get in the wolf costume, though. That aside.
That's not what we agreed.
There was a strange tension between the three monsters here. But it's not really the time to kill Yasunaga-kun or Yoshitsugu-kun. But if we don't... Oh... I know. I don't mean to ignore your wish. It's just that...
Who do we kill then?
There's two candidates. Takumi Muro-san and Yudai Hashimoto-san. Because they're good at controlling the conversation. Yes, especially Hashimoto-san. He's doing an amazing job convincing everyone to handle this rationally. Also, he's a lot smarter and sharper than he looks. Let your guard down, and he'll instantly expose us all. I told them about how dangerous he was, citing the secret chat thing in the morning and the trick question during the feast.
You're sure you're not overthinking it? And why Takumi ni?
He might be the snake.
Huh?
I was already suspicious yesterday, but now I'm almost certain. Yesterday, when asked whether anyone would volunteer to be lynched, he said he couldn't die yet. I thought a lot about it, and the yet part really bothered me. Couldn't die on its own would have seemed natural. Also, he met with Yasunaga-kun secretly about it, At first I thought he wanted to cheer him up since Chamie was dead and all. But looking at how they behaved, it seems likely they met up to talk about the feast. That seems possible. It was a bit strange how he just called Yasunaga to talk, but what about it? He's a pretty open guy, isn't he? Not the type to hold secret meetings at night. Not the type to hold secret meetings, right? He probably knows full well that you can't keep any secrets here in Yasumisu. And he still took Yasunaga-kun to meet in secret. That requires a lot of trust, if you ask me. That's why I think that he's the snake, and that he investigated Yasunaga-kun yesterday. Another thing, he didn't raise his hand when we volunteered to be investigated by the snake.
Oh, that was okay, right? I didn't raise that first.
It's fine. You raised later, and that's natural. However, considering his position, he should have raised his hand and agreed to be investigated before anyone else. He didn't do it because he's the snake, and already figured that raising his hand would have been pointless. I think he wasn't paying enough attention to act like a normal human, rather than a snake. That was also why he was slow to react to the idea that we should investigate him, yet accepted it without any argument.
I guess so. It does look like his words were a bit strange back then.
I understand you're worried, but why today? Takumi-san won't investigate himself, but there's no guarantee it would be one of us, right? That was a naive thing to say. I don't really trust myself. If he's a snake, and if he was suspicious of me to begin with, my words might have made him even more suspicious. But if your theory is true, it's possible that Takumi-san told Yasunaga that he's the snake, right? That's possible. Then we should get rid of him, shouldn't we? We should. Within the next few nights. Very well. As long as we go for Yasunaga tomorrow, I'll let you pick today's victim.
I really don't care which.
Thank you. However, if we killed one, we couldn't go for the other one for a while. Today's choice was bound to greatly affect what happened next. Now, which one? Pardon stuffy nose. Honestly, I wanna keep Hashimoto-san around since he's just so much fun. But I'm just gonna go down the list. I do think it probably would be better to take out the snake overall, but we'll see how this goes. Oh, wait. My suspicions of Takumi-san being the snake are nothing more than that. And I guess, he does say that sometimes his memories are fuzzy, but it still always catches me off guard when he doesn't retain some of the information. Nah, it's just the usual when I read for too long. Unfortunately, my nose starts getting stuffy. And I found that having tea instead of water does help mitigate that a little. But then my tea gets cold so quickly. Unlike detective novels, people didn't always act according to logic. It was risky to take a web of strange words and look at them in black and white. I was almost certain Hashimoto-san was dangerous. He had to be eliminated. Yeah, that's true, ZD. It's also hard to account for everything. I'll kill Hashimoto-san. I understand, however... Yes, we'll kill Yasunaga-kun tomorrow. But it'll be a different story if we discover the snake. That's not good. If I don't kill Yasunaga for sure tomorrow, I'll... Don't take the Feast of the Yomi Purge lightly. It's not easy to win each round. You may be satisfied focusing on your sons, but Haru-chan and I can't do that. Fulfilling Great Lord Shunai's orders, resolving this incident eternally, and making sure at least Haru-chan escapes. That is my responsibility. We can't rely on a simple suicide attack. Alright. And if we don't kill one of them tomorrow night, I will kill my sons during the day.
Cody-san, you can't do that.
I won't cause either of you trouble, and if I kill them both at Manhattan that day, I will have fulfilled my duty, correct? First, there's no guarantee she could successfully kill both, and if she did, that didn't mean the humans would simply kill Kaori-san. That had happened in a previous loop, but that was a hopeless feast led by Kyonosuke-shi and the wolf Yasunaga-kun. In a feast as calm and collected as this one, they'd probably tie Kaori-san up and let the corruption have her while I looked for the other wolves. No, knowing Hashimoto-san, you could torture Kaori-san and try to get the identities of the other wolves out of her. But I wouldn't explain that. I can't make promises anymore, but I will do everything in my power to try and kill Yasunaga-kun tomorrow night. Can you take that as heartfelt sincerity?
Cody-san, you can't be selfish either. Everyone will die if things go well, so you need to think about ensuring things go that way.
It's so hard. I just want this life of mine to be over.
Cody-san, I'm sorry. I went too far.
Haru-chan, look after Kaori-san.
What are you doing?
I'll take care of it myself.
Alright.
This was the most humane and ethical choice I could manage. I wouldn't let the unfortunate mother and girl dirty their hands and push them even further into a corner. Justification was a wonderful thing. It could apparently drive people to easily commit acts that would be insane otherwise. The door to the hut was surprisingly unlocked. I went in and committed murder with shocking ease. I used a nearby farming tool as my weapon. I severed the big man's head from his torso and chopped him up into bits to make work easier for the cleanup crew the next morning. Knowing Hashimoto-san, he may have left a dying message, so I thoroughly destroyed his body just to be safe. I felt like I'd slain an evil troll. I'd done the deed in under an hour, and probably easier than it would have been if all three of us had done this together. As suspected, I found the camera, so I smashed it to pieces and buried it under the massive corpse. I made sure to destroy it at an angle that would destroy the memory card, too, in a way that made it look natural. After all, I didn't want people pointing fingers at the city dwellers tomorrow, for having clearly gone out of their way to destroy it. Good. I was calm. I told the others it was all over, and then we parted for the day. Wait. Haru-chan called to me near the end of our trip back to our homes. Sorry for leaving it all to you today. Huh? I'm the one who should apologize for leaving Kaori-san entirely to you. Killing is harder, isn't it? It was easier than you think. It might be best if I do all the brutalizations tomorrow, starting tomorrow too. I get the feeling Kaori-san will go completely insane if she kills her sons with her own hands. You do know that means she might try to kill you then. It's definitely possible. What a handful. Nah, I'd say you're pretty formidable yourself. Sorry. No, don't be. You were still a big help in keeping Kaori-san in order. It's the least I can do. I'll come aid with the killing tomorrow if I can. Like I said, that's... I just don't want to leave it all to someone playing the good guy like you. Wow, you actually said it. Okay, I'll be counting on you tomorrow. Oh, but don't go overboard during the day, alright? Yep, I'll just be the same old dumb cowardly teen rebel as always. Wait, you mean that's all in action normally? No, but any idiot's capable of at least that much introspection. Good night. Good night. When I called her formidable, I was referring to back then. Yet back in that time when she instantly killed me for trying to abandon my role as a wolf. Naturally, I'd assumed she'd just give me a confused look. I'd say it was nothing and that'd be the end of that. I wonder what exactly she was apologizing for. And with that, I will end stream right here. Ooh, well, you really just did that quite with so much ease. Seems like you are affected a bit after all. Yeah, Zarek says, saved him only to kill him. Yep. Ooh. I really do wonder how this is gonna end. I suspect highly that this isn't the last route, maybe the second to last one, but there's just still so much that's left unsolved, especially regarding the old man and especially regarding Chiemi. And honestly, there's still a lot of Haruaki's background that I'm still just so curious about. Aw. Thank you all so very much for watching. It's always so much fun having you all here. I really do appreciate it a lot. And hearing all of your thoughts is great too. Final loop is probably when you get key one. That does make a lot of sense. I wonder if that's the... Yeah. Well then, as you probably, if you might have, you probably noticed that the thumbnail of this says Monday, Wednesdays, and Sundays. Since I finished the Hildebrand questline in Final Fantasy XIV, yeah, I will be doing this 3 times a week now. So yes, Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. EST. Thank you all so much for coming on by. Oh, you as well, PCU. Hope that you have a wonderful time zone wherever you are, and as always, please do take care of yourselves and each other. Toodaloo-hoo!